Yeah, new video, no trade recap. I think I just uploaded a video about this exact topic today or yesterday. I can't really remember. But anyways, here we are, and this time, as you can see, I visualized it very beautiful right here. I was breaking it down. In other words, I just summarized it. So I have like a clear overview of everything. And I don't get things mixed up because I just had it in my head and I also was writing it down across different pages in my journal, but I wanted everything at once, like a summary. So that's the reason why I did this. And yeah, this is like basically my routine and my strategy. Now, I'm not particularly talking about my trading strategy, like, oh yeah, order block, liquidity sweep, stuff like that. No, like just overall, like everything besides that. But at this is also very, at some point, maybe even more important, or at least the same as important as my strategy. So let's start with the first block. The first block is my morning routine. I wake up at 6 a.m. and then I go for a run or I go outside to jump rope for 2 to 4 minutes. Sorry, 3 to 4 minutes. I increased the time because I got better. Now, one thing I want to mention is I used to only go outside to jump rope because before that I tried to go for a run, but whenever I woke up at 6 a.m., I was too tired, too exhausted, too fucked up, too much of a bitch, and I always failed. So I just switched to jumping rope, but because my shins are kind of hurting because, I was recently jumping rope too much or too good, I don't know. I just was going for a run today, and to be honest, afterwards I was surprised that I actually did it. Also the way how I did it. So yeah, that's the reason why I added this to the list and actually put this, on priority. So this is like a higher priority than, jumping rope. Because going for a run, it's a pain in the ass for me, but this is the best way to clear your head, especially in the morning. And being clear-headed is super fucking important. This is, by the way, the whole point of the morning routine. After I jump rope, or I actually forgot to add this, after I jump, doing some, activities outside, I go and take a cold shower. And I know, it sounds super fucking generous and retarded and fake motivational guru bullshit, but honestly, it helps after you was outside for, doing exercise, taking a cold shower. This is the most refreshing things I can imagine after a workout. It's not like that I don't enjoy it, but it's just very refreshing. After that, I'm going to drink a coffee or a caffeine soft drink. Like, in other words, I just consume caffeine after I took my cold shower. And then I go to my PC and start to check the news calendar if we have like any high impact news like CPI, PPI, NFP, FOMC, and stuff like that. And after that, I'm going to check news media like Bloomberg, Yahoo Finance, and Fastball because sometimes, something regarding fiscal or geopolitics happens, which is quite relevant for certain currencies or pairs, like either gold or the dollar index. So sometimes, some events or things happen which are kind of useful. It helps you kind of with the trajectory for, the overall bias and price action on the higher time frame for the pairs you are, currently interested in or have like some kind of impact or, relevancy to the pairs you trade. So yeah, and but if there's nothing important or interesting going on for the pairs I trade or for the instruments I trade, then I just, skip it if there's nothing important or relevant to read. After that, I start to go to the chart. So I open TradingView and then I'm going to follow my chart routine, I call it. Now, we are not talking about particularly about the strategy like, ICT, SMC, or whatever I'm using. It is only about the routine, which has at certain point nothing to do with the strategy itself. Like it does not equal with my strategy, but it goes hand in hand. So let's start. Now, the first thing I do when I go to the charts, I check daily bias. Always daily bias. Checking if it was taking out a previous candle high or low, what the current trend is on the daily, and what phase it is in a recession, distribution, peak, depression, accumulation, distribution, like, all those things. Just in what phase it is, and what are the key levels on the on the daily time frame. Now it's not as specific and in depth as on the 1 hour time frame and below that, but still at a certain point you need to see the trend, trying to find out where price is trying to go for the next couple of days and weeks. Because honestly, this helps you, or at least helped me a lot with my buys for today. Like when I think about especially gold and your USD, this helped me a lot to know the buys for the week, for the day, where price is trying to go for the next couple of days and weeks. After that, I go for the 1 hour for more confirmation and see its current trends. Is it trying to reverse it, or what? Is it continuing, or do we have a consolidation going on? So we are checking that, and if we have like like an interesting level where we want to look for entries on the 1 hour, then we scale down to the 5 minutes or 50 minutes, but mostly on the 5 minutes to look for point of interests. The 5 minutes is the entry phase. Sometimes I also look on the 50 minutes if it is a bit too unclear and I want some extra confirmation, because overall there's something which counts always in trading, regardless of the chart routine. Higher time frame holds higher power. And of course, last but not least, overall, be patient. But to be honest, this approach, this chart routine is very reasonable and makes trading, it just made trading for me so much more easier, because always, whatever you're doing, even if it is something which seems complex, make it as easy as possible for you. There's no reason to overcomplicate things. Yeah, maybe for Mr. Fucking average, it is complicated, but with whatever you're doing, just learn it as much as possible, increase the volume as much as possible, and when you understand it, then break it down as simple as possible for yourself, because you already did your research, your learnings to understand it in depth. Now, to not get lost into it, make it as simple as possible, because you understood the core. So making it as easy as possible is key. And after that, we go to the trading rules. Everything which is about actively placing my trades and stuff like that. Now, rule number one on the trading rules: never ever re-enter. If you open a position and you get stopped out, but then the stop loss was so tight, but then this position would have been like a killer trade, then it should be a lesson for you. Then it should be a fucking lesson for you, because if you re-enter, maybe there's like an exception, but I don't want to rely on that. When you start to do that, then you unconsciously are starting to build a bad habit, and bad habits in trading is fucking suicide. And I don't want, obviously, to do some fucking suicide on trading. I want to make money, so I avoid this. In other words, I don't re-enter. Next rule is only 3 to 4 trades a day, not more. This is like the bare maximum I want to do. Like 4 is already very ambitious, but I really don't want to go above that. The next thing is, because I know 3 to 4 trades sounds a lot, but don't worry. There's like another rule which is kind of making it like more strict and helps me to frame it better. Is maximum 2 losing trades in a row. So when I'm trading and I'm thinking like, oh yeah, but I can't take 3 to 4 trades. Not that fast, young one. You can't be that impulsive with your decisions. You need to be very sharp and wise with your trades. Because when I have 2 losing trades in a row, I'm done for the day. And believe me, there's like no, I would argue there's like a very annoying and frustrating thing for a trader if he's taking the trades and then, because of his rules, he can't trade no more the whole day, but there were like one or two very clean setups afterwards. And this is painful to watch. Like, it's not enjoyable, especially because they know that, what's going to happen like this. That's like the worst part. And this should prevent me from overtrading, like this rule, and also forcing me to be patient. Because when you have like only 2 shots to fuck up, then you're going to think about way more wisely how you're going to place your positions. Which is, in other words, you're getting forced to be patient and then enter your position when there's like very high probability going on and you feel comfortable with it. And also the last one, in case if you fuck up the first trade of the day, after losing trade, decrease lot size, not stop loss. I made this learning today, and I actually added this to the list because today was actually the first time I was following these rules because I discovered them last week. And while doing this, I also observed something, which is the reason why I added this one. And to be honest, when I look at it like this, it's very refreshing to see these rules going on. So when you fuck up the first trade and you see another setup, fine, do it, but don't adjust or don't have a tight stop loss. Just fucking don't, because again, you don't want to fuck up a trade which would be like very profitable if you wouldn't have entered too early or have a too tight stop loss. It's soul crushing, especially for beginners. So after losing trade, do not decrease lot size by force, but do not decrease the stop loss by force. So you can say like, oh yeah, but I can win more, but I'm more high with the stop loss, so it's stupid. Decrease the lot size. Maybe the profits won't be that big, but rather take some profits at no profits. It's very simple maths. It's really not that complicated. It's like basic 101, trading 101, 1 plus 1, common sense. Common sense of a fucking child. So don't be greedy. Don't think like, oh yeah, but I want more profits. I don't give a shit. At least for myself, because you can do what you want, free will and stuff. But for me, don't have a tight stop loss. Just like don't have a unreasonable tight stop loss. Just decrease the lot size after losing trade, because when you're doing the opposite, like having the same lot size but tightening the stop loss, this fucks with your head a lot. Like, I mean it, a lot. That's wild. And yeah, now and overall, from the things also in combination with how I felt and stuff like that, and how I was able to execute them like that. Overall, I can confidently sit here and say, following all these things strictly and keeping my head straight will cause me to get like will get me into the position to own this thing. It's a car, actually, a McLaren 720 Spider. So yeah, like very simple. Just follow all these rules, like, or at least find the rules for yourself and the routine for yourself. But for me, what counts for me is following all these rules strictly and using my brain. Um, and I will be perfectly fine. Not only that, I will also be the owner of this car. So overall, it's nothing very surprising. It's, as I mentioned, common sense. Believe me, common sense is such a beautiful word because it's something everyone should be able to have access to it. Which is also the reason why I say use your brain. And if you're kind of struggling with that, then make your subconscious conscious. But overall, these things will get me that. And yeah, to be honest, looking at it like that, it's pretty refreshing. So now maybe I will fuck around for more 20 minutes and then, go to bed, because right now we are about to have like 11 p.m. and I have to wake up in like less than 8 hours. So with that being said, cheers.